Perfect night in northeastern Wisconsin. Temperature upper 60s. Clear skies, beautiful weather. The Green Bay Packers, world champions. And last year, their most impactful defensive player in only his second season in the league was the outside linebacker, Clay Matthews. Moments ago, he spoke with Michelle Tafoya.
Well, Al, no team has won back-to-back Super Bowl champions since the Patriots in 03 and 04. But tonight, the Packers take their first step toward that ultimate goal. And Clay Matthews, it happens. You win the Super Bowl, everyone wants to know, can you repeat? But that's on the outside. Inside your locker room, what's the conversation about defending your title?
Stacking success, and that's what we're all about. It starts here tonight against a great NFC opponent in the Saints, previous Super Bowl champions. So we got to come out here tonight, show what we're all about, do it all over again.
Yeah, and you face Drew Brees and a prolific offense here. What one thing does this defense need to do to keep them in check?
We need to get after Brees, first and foremost. He's the leader of that offense. He'll be able to pick us apart if we don't get after him. So it relies on me, the guys up front, really to get some pressure on him.
Clay, thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
And the Saints are without three key players tonight. Their best defensive lineman, Will Smith, is serving the first of a two-game suspension for testing positive for a banned diuretic back in 2008. He'll be replaced by Turk McBride. Wide receiver Lance Moore is out with a groin injury. And Garrett Hartley, the kicker, is out. So the Saints, Al, went and picked up 21-year veteran John Casey.
Casey at the age of 41. There is Sean Payton, who just got a new contract extension, taking him through 2015. Payton in his 6th season as the head coach of the Saints. The crowd waving the towels. Thomas Morstead will kick off for the Saints. Even if Hartley was healthy, it would still be Morstead who doubles as their punter. And Randall Cobb, a second-round draft choice from Kentucky, to run it back. And again this year, they kick off from the 35 and no longer the 30. And Cobb makes his NFL debut from a yard into the end zone. And out he comes to the 24-yard line, and here comes the Green Bay offense.
Aaron Rodgers, California.
Ryan Grant, University of Notre Dame.
John Kuhn, Shippensburg.
Greg Jennings, Kalamazoo Central High School.
Donald Driver, Alcorn State.
Jermichael Finley, the University of Texas.
Chad Clifton, Tennessee.
TJ Lang, Eastern Michigan.
Scott Wells, Tennessee.
Josh Sitton, UCF.
Brian Balaga, Iowa.
Balaga in his second season took over last year as a rookie at right tackle. Clifton on the other side is the oldest starting left tackle in the league. And the first play from scrimmage is from the 24-yard line. Rodgers slings it to the outside and hits Greg Jennings. Coming off a great season, and Jennings is out to the 33-yard line. They'll line the ball up, and he is a little short of the first down by about a half yard. The MVP of the Super Bowl, Rodgers, and he's going to go no huddle here. 304 yards in the game at Cowboys Stadium with 3 touchdown passes. Comes up in the gun and hands the ball off, and this is Ryan Grant, who missed almost all of last season. He comes back after breaking his ankle on opening day and missing the last 15 games. So he's back, and they hope he gives them the running attack that they had a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you're going to run the football, go behind your best offensive guard right there, Josh Sitton, and it's pretty amazing these Packers were able to win a Super Bowl without 2 of their best players, Ryan Grant and Jermichael Finley.
Finley missing all but the first 6 games of the year. The pass to the outside is caught by Jordy Nelson. Nelson had a big day in the Super Bowl. The Packers, who normally don't play a lot of no huddle, came up in it this time, and now they huddle only about 4 or 5 yards back of the line of scrimmage. Kind of a semi-huddle here.
A little sugar huddle, as Sam White used to call it in Cincinnati. This is something that has worked so well in preseason. They've just gone to it right away.
Yep. 2nd down and 4. And it is Rodgers under pressure, and he gets swarmed under. That's Jonathan Casillas, the outside linebacker, in a battle with Scott Shanley for one of the linebacking positions. Gets the start tonight and gets the first sack of the year.
Watch Jonathan Casillas right here. He's basically in coverage on the back Starks, but when Starks blocks somebody else, that frees up Casillas to come through. And I tell you what, Greg Williams could not be higher on Jonathan Casillas. He says if that kid can stay healthy, he is one of the most explosive pass rushers that we have.
3rd year in the league, and that's his first career sack. It's 3rd down and 12 from the 35-yard line. Errant snap. Rodgers has to one-hand it with the left hand and then throws for a first down. Donald Driver, 13th year, 7th round choice back in '99. On a 3rd down and 12, gets 16 yards.
Well, first of all, the catch by Aaron Rodgers was amazing. A one-handed catch. Now he's got to right himself and try and find an open receiver after he steps up in the pocket. I'll tell you, some of those little things that Aaron Rodgers does goes unnoticed, but that was brilliant.
Again, they stack the backs here on 1st and 10. A short shotgun. And Rodgers deep down the left side for Nelson, who makes the catch inside the 15-yard line. He beats Patrick Robinson to move them deep into Saints territory.
First things first, boy, they love having Ryan Grant back. Watch this blitz pickup right here. You see the man coverage all over the field, but you don't get that blitz pickup. You don't get the big play down the field. And how about Jordy Nelson just picking up right where he left off in the Super Bowl? He was something else in that game, about 140 yards receiving on 9 catches.
And how about Rodgers hanging in there again as Casillas knocked him to the ground after he threw the ball. 36 yards on the play from the 13 on 1st down. Rodgers under pressure again. He can run. Doesn't have far to roam this time, and that's Casillas who falls on him after a gain of about 2.
Well, he was looking for, I guess you call it a new target in Jermichael Finley down the field. Finley, of course, hurt after about 5 games last year. The tight end right on the end. But as soon as Rodgers looked back, he was uncomfortable there, so had to pull the ball down. They really feel like that Finley is going to give them that red zone target they didn't have a season ago.
Last year, the Saints did not allow an opening drive touchdown. 2nd down and 9. From the 12-yard line, this is an inside give to Grant. And Grant will get hogtied at the 8-yard line. The safety Malcolm Jenkins coming over. And it will be 3rd down and 5 from the 8.
Well, Malcolm Jenkins is a star on the rise. He's one of those guys, they say he's as bad as Drew Brees and Jonathan Vilma. You had to kick him out of the film room. Never wants to go home, and that kind of recognition allows him to make plays like that.
Spot the ball at the 7-yard line now to make it 3rd down and 4. James Starks is the back, flanking Rodgers. They go 4 wide here on 3rd and 4. Here come the Saints. Rodgers throws, back shoulder caught, touchdown, Greg Jennings. They go to work on Patrick Robinson on the drive. The big play was the 16-yard gain to Driver on 3rd down and 12. Rodgers is 5 for 5 for 74 on the opening drive, and Green Bay takes the early lead.
Second-year player, and Patrick Robinson is getting picked on right away. The Packers go with their best player. He saw Robinson with his back turned. He knew exactly where he was going right from the start. And why not? What a year it was a season ago for Greg Jennings.
Mason Crosby out of the hold of Tim Matchday for the extra point. So it's a perfect start for the reigning Super Bowl champions. 4:52 into the game. 7-0 Packers. Mason Crosby to kick off now. The Saints will get the ball for the first time. 8 yards in. That's one of the new Saints, Darren Sproles, who wanted to show what he can do, but he has to down it in the end zone. So Breeze and his offense take over at the 20 when we come back to Lambeau Field. Drew Brees signed with the Saints as a free agent before the 06 season, same time that Peyton came along as the head coach. 22 picks last year. Part of that to do with the fact he really had no running game. Now he should. Everybody's healthy, and they've added Darren Sproles. Mark Ingram, a Heisman Trophy winner 2 years ago, the rookie who was drafted at the end of the 1st round. And it's a 4-yard gain on 1st down up to the 24-yard line. It'll be a 3-headed attack with Pierre Thomas, who was their main running back in the Super Bowl year, who was hurt a lot of last season. They draft Ingram, and Sproles is picked up from San Diego. And you've got Sproles now in the backfield out of the shotgun on 2nd down and 7 from the 23-yard line, and the pass is caught. That is Marcus Colston losing the ball at the 34-yard line, and the Packers are all over it. Nick Collins created the fumble, And the indication is that it is Green Bay ball.
I think one of the most underrated players in the game today, Nick Collins, who had that brilliant touchdown in the Super Bowl, starts off this one with a huge play. Helmet right on the football. The Packers go down and score in the no huddle and get it right back on the second play.
Tramon Williams comes up with the recovery, and back in business is Aaron Rodgers at the 36-yard line after 2 offensive plays. Ryan Grant and John Kuhn in the backfield. Kuhn, the fullback. And a little dump off to Grant, like a jump pass to the 30-yard line, a gain of 6 on the play. Rodgers under pressure again that time, and the Saints under Greg Williams, their defensive coordinator, will blitz more than any team in the league.
And I'm sure that's what Mike McCarthy was thinking there, that they were going to come out with a blitz because right after the turnover, and so he's going to go screen right off the bat. Pretty smart call there by the Super Bowl winning coach.
Mike McCarthy came to Green Bay same year that Peyton went to New Orleans in 2006. 2nd down and 5 from the 31-yard line. Grant cuts it back over right tackle. All the way to the 21-yard line he goes. 1st down. Let's take a look at that Saints defense.
Cameron Jordan, UC Berkeley.
Brian Franklin, Tennessee.
Cedric Ellis, USC.
Turk McBride, Tennessee.
Will Herring, Auburn.
Jonathan Vilma, the U.
Scott Chanley, Nebraska.
Jabari Greer, Jackson, Tennessee.
Roman Harper, Alabama.
Malcolm Jenkins, The Ohio State University.
Tracy Porter, Indiana University.
From the 21 now, James Starks is the running back. He came on last year. Did very well in postseason. Didn't carry the ball during the regular season until December. And the pass is caught over the middle, and that is Jermichael Finley. He's back, and he has a 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. He went out in early October last year, and he, of course, had to watch in civvies as they brought the Lombardi Trophy home, 16 yards.
There he is, the big tight end. They love to flank out, and I have no idea what that coverage was. There was no underneath support. Jabari Greer was not in man coverage. It looked like he thought he was playing a zone. That was as easy a pitch and catch as you'll ever see in this game. And right now, the Saints have to hold on. They're in danger of getting blown out if this doesn't get righted soon.
3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. That would be Finley out of the gun. It's 1st down and goal from the 6-yard line. He looked Finley's way. Now Rodgers will buy time, and nobody's open, so he just slings it out of bounds. It'll be 2nd down. Jeff Charleston put the pressure on Rodgers. 2nd and goal.
Well, here's what I think Aaron Rodgers does as well as anybody down in the red zone. They're going to drop 8 guys back in coverage. He's going to buy all the time that he can. He'll move around. That's all part of their plan. They're going to try and get him on the move and just let the protection hold, and then let one of the receivers slip around and make a play. That time he just couldn't find anybody.
First incomplete pass for Rodgers. He's 7 out of 8 for 94 yards halfway through the quarter. And a flag for a false start.
False start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Clete Blackman, in only his 2nd year as a referee, gets a Blakeman gets a pretty plum assignment for a guy in only his 2nd year, the opening game.
Yeah, and T.J. Lang ended up winning that starting left guard position, beat out the draft pick, Derek Sherrod, and beat him out fairly easily. He definitely is a much more physical player this year than what he was a season ago because of a wrist injury that he had.
Number 1 pick Sherrod not even active tonight. 2nd and goal. And the pass caught at the 6-yard line. And Donald Driver at his advanced age, still with a lot of spring in his step and shifty movement, takes the ball to the 3-yard line, 3rd down and goal. 700 career catches now for Donald Driver.
Well, the Saints have been beaten so badly in their man coverage. Now they're just sort of falling back into a zone, which is not at all the MO of their defensive coordinator, Greg Williams. I tell you, I think Jermichael Finley has changed the way the Saints are playing. The big tight end, they just don't have an answer for him.
3rd and goal. They again go 3-by-1. And Rodgers this time will talk it over. Timeout, 6.5 to go in the quarter. 7-0 Packers, and they're threatening.
Last time Aaron Rodgers and the Packers were down there, take a look at what he was doing. He's over here and he said, Greg Jennings on Patrick Robinson. Really? Okay, I'm going to take it. I wonder if the Saints have the guts to come out in another man coverage. I'm going to say I doubt it.
This time they go 2-by-2. Jennings is on Robinson again, 3rd down and goal.
But zone all the way. He has help.
They go to the other side. Nelson, touchdown, Green Bay. After the fumble, 6 plays, 36 yards. Rodgers has started the season 9 of 10 for 105 yards and 2 touchdown passes.
Aaron Rodgers looked left, saw the zone coverage. He said, thank you very much. And right now, the Saints are slipping every time they're getting backed up into the end zone. Roman Harper slipped that time. Patrick Robinson before. They've got to stay on their feet.
Mason Crosby tacks on the extra point. 6:24 left in the opening quarter with the Super Bowl champions on top, 14-0. 14-0, and away we go with Mason Crosby to kick off. And Sproles this time starts to come out. Boy, he is dying to run one back, but very frustrated, the former Charger. 6:24 remaining in the quarter. And let's take a look at the Saints offense.
Drew Brees, Purdue Boilermaker. Pierre Thomas, Illinois.
Jedediah Gabriel Collins, Washington State.
Marcus Colston, Hofstra University. Devery Henderson, LSU.
Jimmy Graham, the U.
Jamon Bushrod, Towson University.
Carl Nix, North Salinas High.
Olin Kreutz, Washington.
Jari Evans, Frankfurt Pioneers.
Zach Streif, Northwestern University.
Kreutz, the former Chicago Bear, longtime Pro Bowler. And the right tackle, Zach Streif, has been there for 6 years, but now a full-time starter at right tackle. The guards are outstanding. On first down, it's dropped by Robert Meacham out on the right side. Clay Matthews that time got into the backfield, put the pressure on the quarterback. 2nd down.
Well, here they come now. Everybody's coming from this side. And now Dom Capers, the defensive coordinator, starts firing all the bullets. And for Drew Brees, it's going to be a challenge. His guys have got to settle in here a little bit. There's Dom Capers right there. He did such a great job a season ago. But the Saints have got to get their feet on the ground. So far, they look nervous, and they're making big mistakes.
Got to stay upright. A lot of them slipping. Defense on almost every play. 2nd and 10. And to the outside goes Mark Ingram, the rookie, tackled by Shields. Let's take a look at that Dom Capers Green Bay D.
Ryan Pickett, Ohio State University.
B.J. Raji, D.C.
Clay Matthews, USC.
Desmond Bishop, San Francisco City College.
A.J. Hawk, The Ohio State University.
Eric Walden, Middle Tennessee State.
Sam Shields, the U.
Charles Woodson, University of Michigan.
Morgan Burnett, Georgia Tech.
Nick Collins, Bethune-Cookman.
Tremont Williams, Louisiana Tech.
Charles Woodson just keeps rolling along on the Heisman at Michigan. 14th year in the league. 3rd down and 6. 4-man rush. Brees under pressure, hit as he throws, but gets it away to Sproles. And Sproles into Green Bay territory for a 1st down. Darren Sproles picked up after Reggie Bush was sent to Miami. Bush wanted to be an every down back. Sproles says, I'll come. I accept this role, and Brees says, we'll take it, baby.
There's A.J. Hawk right there. There's the matchup. This is what the Saints wanted to get. Man coverage and Sproles one-on-one in space. They wanted to create a little bit of movement out there so that he could get open, and Clay Matthews missed by that much.
Gain of 36 on a 3rd down. Pierre Thomas now comes in as the running back. Off the play fake. The pass to Thomas, a little high, but he reaches for it and pulls it down and turns it into a 9-yard gain. Evans and Kreutz at that time pulling out to help lead the way on the screen.
Well, the great thing for the New Orleans Saints and Sean Payton is that they know they are capable of scoring points with the Green Bay Packers, one of the few teams in the NFL that have that capability. In the 5 years that Payton's been there, nobody has more yards or points than what the New Orleans Saints do, so he's not panicking at all, staying with the run game, come back with the screen, they're fine.
2nd down and 2. And through the middle goes Thomas. Missed 10 games last year. He comes back, part of that three-headed attack we talked about, along with Ingram and Sproles. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
Well, you've got the whole defensive line starting right there with B.J. Raji, who's a guy that handles more double teams probably than anybody in the NFL right now. His play over the second half of the season in the playoffs just made such a difference on this team. He is almost impossible to move.
Come up tight on 3rd down and 1. Thomas is the back. The fake to him. Breeze has time. Breeze going deep. He throws, caught, touchdown. Robert Meacham into the end zone. Well, they're down 14-0, but in the Sean Payton regime, the Saints have averaged 27 points per game. So if it's a team that can erase a 14-point deficit in a hurry, it's these guys.
What a great job here. Drew Brees sees Nick Collins come out of the middle, so he knows there's nobody back there. Tramon Williams, one of the best cover corners in the game a season ago, had no help whatsoever, and he was playing an outside technique. I don't know if he got surprised by what Nick Collins did or not.
Breeze and Meacham have been a very potent combination over the last 3 years, even though Meacham dropped the first pass thrown to him tonight, a short one out in the flat, brings this one in, 31 yards on 3rd and 1, and it's 14-7 Packers. Well, they moved the kickoff line to the 35, so already as many touchbacks at Lambeau Field tonight in the first quarter as there were all of last season. And will we have a third? There's a flag down here. For the moment, a touchback, but we've got a flag down back at the 35-yard line. And clearly, Chris, the only reason for this was safety. So Blakeman, all right, Cleat, I'll get you down in a minute. If we get Alberto Riveron down, we'll get Cleat down.
Offside on the kicking team, number 56. The penalty would place five yards from the previous spot and a re-kick.
So now you go back, and again, it was all about safety. The league felt there were far too many injuries in terms of the kickoffs, both on the receiving end and on the coverage end. So, in effect, as Bill Belichick said, what they really wanted to do was eliminate the kickoff.
You know what I think it's going to come to eventually is some kind of a punt on the kickoff. One thing they didn't want to eliminate was the onside kick. So you could still do it, but at least with a punt that has more hang time, you wouldn't get that running in both directions full speed. It'd be a little bit more lateral movement back there. Wouldn't be surprised if that's the ultimate answer.
I think what you'll see too is you'll see more touchbacks earlier in the season when the weather is good. Of course, in the dome it's not going to matter, but as the season goes on, it'll be a little tougher, even from the 35 to boot one into the end zone in Green Bay.
No question. So enjoy this. We're probably going to get a kickoff return from the 30.
Randall Cobb will run it back. Packers wanted to shore up their return game. Cobb picked in the second round. Morstead's kick. Wow. And already 3 touchbacks. Well, succeeding a legend in all sports. When you take a look back, Joe Montana, of course, with Steve Young behind him, and then Young succeeded him, went on to the Hall of Fame. Ted Williams and Carl Yastrzemski, the Hall of Fame for Yaz. It was Larry Bird and then John Havlicek. Mantle and DiMaggio, of course, in New York, and then Favre was here, and Aaron Rodgers in the prime of his career. And then there was Madden and Collinsworth.
That didn't work out so well.
Oh, yeah, it worked out real well. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. James Starks is the running back. Three-man rush, easy for Rodgers to move around, and then he will slide to a hold at the 23-yard line.
Aaron Rodgers,
California.
There it is, 3rd and 12. I thought was one of the key plays out there, the catch by Aaron Rodgers, and then he comes right back on 3rd and 4, down in the red zone. Read that one perfectly, saw the man coverage, then looks away, sees what he likes over to the right side. I'll tell you, he's just a different guy after that playoff run. You could tell when we were meeting with him, couldn't you? I mean, he just was on top of the world.
He gets it in all aspects. 2nd down and 8. And that pass is caught, and again turning around and beating the coverage is Finley. Jermichael Finley with tight coverage is able to look back, grab it, and pick up the 1st down.
You can't cover that. There he is right there. Watch Roman Harper. That is perfect coverage. I mean, you've got a guy with a catch radius of about 7 feet on either side of him. Aaron Rodgers just hits the back shoulder throw. That is impossible to cover.
From the 42 on 1st down. Whistle. And you heard the 7-0, meaning Lang, false start.
False start. Offense, number 70, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
So that'll make it 1st down and 15. So Greg Williams, one of the best defensive coordinators in the league, was the head coach at Buffalo for a few years, then went to Washington, then went to Jacksonville, and now in his 3rd season here. Has his work cut out tonight on 1st and 15, and that time they go to Randall Cobb. So the rookie returner and wideout makes his first NFL catch, and that's Harper making the stop.
You know, after what Seattle went through defensively against Seattle in the playoff game a season ago, one thing they've decided in this one is that if they get confused at all, they're going to check to something conservative and not give up a big play. They feel like that if they can force Green Bay to go the long route, they'll eventually have some penalties. Something will go in their favor.
2nd and 12, they go no huddle, and the pass is caught on a slant over the middle, and that's Greg Jennings out to the 50-yard line, setting up a 3rd down and short.
Well, I tell you, there's just no underneath coverage whatsoever. I know they're trying to crowd up and make some difference on the line of scrimmage, but they can't give them that easy a throw. That's the 2nd one of those we've seen tonight without any help underneath and the corner playing outside.
And mainly no huddle or sugar huddle in the 1st quarter tonight for the Packers. Up tempo, 3rd down and 2 from the 50-yard line. Saints come, pass caught, and again, this is Finley tackled from behind by Harper. Just another weapon who they missed last year, but he's healthy again, and Jermichael Finley tonight has already caught 3 balls for 53 yards.
Nice little outside move, and Roman Harper has his hands full. We had a chance to visit with him last night. He knew what he was up against. He knew what the athleticism of Jermichael Finley was going to be like. He said, guys, I'm going to fight him the best that I can, but so far he's been too much.
Roman Harper coming in last night, 28 years old, with a lot of gray hair. And a few more tonight, yeah. 1st and 10 from the 32-yard line. Over the middle, that is caught. Here's Cobb, the rookie inside the 10. Touchdown Packers. And Randall Cobb will do his first Lambeau leap.
Harper, who had a tough playoff game, not getting any easier for him right here. He gets the inside release, gets completely turned around, and all Aaron Rodgers needs is another receiver. Already, this is the best group of receivers in the NFL, and now add Randall Cobb to the mix.
Crosby with his 3rd extra point. Haven't even played a full quarter. And the Green Bay Packers, world champions, lead by 14. First quarter of a season opener, you'd go back to the '64 Bills. Jack Kemp, who was the vice presidential nominee a few years ago, the late Jack Kemp. 2nd player with 3 TD passes, Aaron Rodgers. So let's get this straight, Chris. All this blah, blah, blah in the offseason. Drew Brees brings the Saints together. They work out like crazy. They have camp without the coaches. The Packers don't do anything of the sort. Everybody says, well, you know, look out for the Saints. They'll be more ready than any other team. Well, what about the Packers? Huh? A yard in. This is Darren Sproles. Up to the 17. So much for the conventional wisdom, right?
Yeah, I've tried to convince my coaches all along less practice was better.
There you go.
It certainly works for us.
They're onto something.
Jonathan Vilma saying, what just hit us? But really, you think about it, the Saints haven't been stopped yet either. They fumble on the first one to Marcus Colston, but it's not like we've seen a punt yet in this ball game.
Might not for a while. Saints begin from the 17-yard line. Brees with a real clean pocket that time and is lucky that one wasn't picked off. Intended for Colston with Williams shooting in. 1 tick left in the quarter.
Now that pass a little bit late getting there, and Tramon Williams almost had one. A guy that had 9 interceptions combined between the regular season and the playoffs. Timing, that ball should have been there already, and that extra little second almost cost Drew Brees a pick.
Barring a penalty, final play of the quarter. 2nd and 10. And that's a nice run by Pierre Thomas, bouncing off Packers all the way out to the 39-yard line to give the Saints a little spark at the end of the quarter, which belongs to Green Bay. 21-7 after 1. And this NFL kickoff special on NBC continues after these messages. Not that much fun for New Orleans as they try to climb back into it. 1st and 10. Saints from the 39-yard line. And here's Thomas with a good run to end the first quarter, and he gets wrapped up as he crosses the line of scrimmage by the massive B.J. Raji.
Well, B.J. Raji is a guy that his single job is to sort of take on double teams, and when you try to single block him, you're not going anywhere. Look at him saying, no, I tried to tell you. And he also was a little high stepping last year. Remember the interception he had in the playoff game for a touchdown and sort of had the dance? He had All-America trying to match him.
In Chicago, he almost pulled a Leon Lett by holding the ball out in front of him. 2nd down and 8. Brees steps off the spot, then throws and finds the open receiver. That's Jimmy Graham, who is so good as the emerging tight end that they let Jeremy Shockey go. They think this guy is going to be a big star.
Well, Olin Kreutz didn't quite get back to A.J. Hawk here, and for Drew Brees, he's dead to rights, but somehow he escapes, finds a throwing lane, and makes a play. That's what both of these quarterbacks can do so well. That is some play that time by Drew Brees.
Extend the play, get off the spot, still find the guy. Brees over 100 yards now from the 41-yard line. Here comes the blitz. A little dump off is thrown to Sproles. He slips, but he is able to be propelled forward inside the 40 to the 39-yard line. Turns into a gain of 2.
Boy, that is a disappointment. They had the perfect play call on that time. A double inside blitz, and you got a screen called against it. This should have been out the gate, and instead they get nothing out of the play because Ryan Pickett recognized it just in time. I'm sure Sean Payton's over there going, what the heck? That was perfect timing.
2nd and 8. Here's a flag. And that pass is behind Meacham, and that is Sam Shields who almost comes down with it. Blakeman getting the call from the line judge.
Boy, how good was that Sam Shields last year?
Illegal shift. Offense, number 12. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Colston, that was Shields. And Shields, they needed him last year. Free agent, played his college football at Miami. And remember, he's another guy who went down in the Super Bowl. And they were able to withstand that against the Steelers.
Well, Zach Strief right over here is making his debut at right tackle. And Clay Matthews is not making it easy on him. That time he goes with the inside move. And that's what happens. Your quarterback has to Took a few blades of grass out of his helmet.
2nd and 13. Quick 2-step drop, and then the pass is caught, but Williams is right there to take care of Colston in his tracks.
I just think the Saints got fooled on that one. They thought Tramon Williams was going to go back, and instead he gave him a little wiggle, looked like he was going backwards, and then shot up, and they had nothing right there. Tramon Williams, Sam Shields, these guys came out of nowhere last year to have just monster years and carry this team to a Super Bowl title.
And Williams had been around for a while. This is already his 5th year, but he really emerged in 2010. 3rd down, 14. Only a 3-man rush, 8 back. Breeze throws, finds the open man in the seam, and that's a 1st down inside the 30-yard line. So with 8 in coverage, Devery Henderson makes the catch, and that moves the sticks.
Well, for Clay Matthews, if he only rushed 3, he's going to get a lot of attention. Count them. 1, 2, 3. Everybody taking a shot at Clay Matthews. Offensive linemen love to get even every once in a while. You're going to get some pressure. He's going to do that. That was a huge pickup, though.
16 yards on 3rd and 14. Here goes Ingram. Tough running to the 25-yard line. Ingram won the Heisman Trophy as a sophomore, and then he came back and had an injury-plagued junior year under Nick Saban at the University of Alabama. Came out. The Saints traded up in the 1st round, 2 first-round choices for them, and they picked up Ingram. 2nd down and 6. No huddle from the gun to the outside, looking for the 1st down, but not getting it is Meacham because he slips down about 2 yards shy of the 1st.
Well, I tell you, every time they get down on this end of the field, the Saints can't stand up, and for Robert Meacham, that should have been an easy 1st down. He sort of hesitated after that catch. He should have just ducked his head and picked up that 1st down. If they don't pick this up now, that is a monster mistake.
And the timeout is being taken here by the Saints prior to a 3rd and 1. Mark Ingram is the back here on 3rd down and 1 after the timeout.
They usually go behind Jory Evans here.
Ingram, and he will pick up the 1st down. One of the reasons they got him was that tough inside yardage. And he picks up the 1st here with 10:45 left in the half.
Well, they started to the left, but they were definitely going back this way, working against Ryan Pickett, and you see Jory Evans getting just enough movement. And there's Mark Ingram. That's what they didn't have a season ago. I'll tell you, Sean Payton said, we have not put on display how powerful this kid is yet. I hope you see a couple of wow plays tomorrow night because he is capable.
On 1st down. To the outside goes Breeze. Sproles stays in bounds and then is taken down just before he gets to the 10-yard line.
It's amazing the timing that these two guys have already. Mark Ingram, of course, just coming over. Watch the timing here. Breeze is going to throw this ball well before Ingram ever comes out of this cut. It's gone. He's still turned around. Zips it in there. Nice catch, nice throw. Darren Sproles on that one.
The former Charger reaching back, hauling it in 2nd down and 4 with the ball at the 12-yard line. Breeze off the fake. Throws it into the ground, incomplete. Here's Ryan Pickett at 6'2" and 340 in his 11th year was chasing him.
Well, Drew Brees saw what you're about to see, and that is coverage everywhere he turned. Nick Collins undercut Colston on the outside, and there's Devery Henderson slipping down once again. Even the Packers slipping on that one. It's been this end zone more than any other, so as a receiver, you start trying to take advantage of that. Chop your steps a little bit, see if you can get them to fall down.
3rd and 4. Flank Sproles to the left. Breeze over the middle into a lot of traffic, and that's incomplete, intended for Marcus Colston. So it's 4th down, and with Garrett Hartley a strained hip and out for a while, they signed John Casey, who's been in the league since '91.
Charles Woodson right there, former defensive player of the year. You see him so much up around the line of scrimmage. Ordinarily 3rd and 5, you like to go somewhere else with that one, but That's why he gets paid what he gets paid.
Casey, an original Carolina Panther, 30-yard attempt. And Casey, the other day, he has 4 children. He is at back to school night. The phone rings. It's the Saints. We need you. Field goal good, 21-10. Thomas Morstead to kick off. And already a 4th touchback at a stadium that saw only 2 touchbacks all of last season. That New Orleans Saints defense, as you can see, back in 09, that was their Super Bowl year. One of the big things, their takeaways, they were 2nd. And then last year they were tied for 20th. And of course they were shredded by the Seahawks in the wild card game and gave up 21 points early tonight. From the 20, Rodgers will start from the shotgun with 5 wide. A shoulder shake and then over the middle and bang, Donald Driver gets popped at the 36-yard line. He was hit there by Malcolm Jenkins, and it's incomplete. 2nd down.
You know, sometimes that's what you need as a defense. You can say anything you want about interceptions, turnovers, whatever. Sometimes as a defense, you just need a big hit. You need something to get your guys amped up a little bit. There's Chad Clifton working inside and allowed his quarterback to get hit on that one. Turk McBride, who's playing for Will Smith tonight.
Smith suspended for the first 2 games of the season, aftermath of the Starcaps case, which was going on for 3 years. 2nd down and 10. Here Starks on an inside handoff, nothing happening there. 3rd down and 10.
You know, for Jonathan Vilma, the middle linebacker for the Saints, he just couldn't believe what he saw in that playoff game in Seattle a season ago. He said, I'm looking around on the bench and my guys just have this blank look on their face. So he spent the whole offseason sort of reading leadership books and said that's never going to happen again as long as I'm the captain out here. Well, right now is the moment they need to play.
3rd and 10. And Rodgers steps into pressure, and then the ball is batted up in the air. Jabari Greer had Jordy Nelson covered, and that's what that St. D needed right now, a 3-and-out. And the first punt of the game is coming up.
Well, Jabari Greer is an old veteran player, and he knew where that first down stick was. Watch him slow down a little bit just as the first down stick shows up. He had a feeling on that one, and Greer's a guy that really had a tough year last year. Separated shoulder all year. He's sort of braved his way through the whole thing, but feels great now and ready to make plays.
Tim Mastay kicking in the direction of Darren Sproles, who'll finally get a chance for a run back from the 29-yard line. Here goes Sproles into Green Bay territory, and Darren Sproles picked up from San Diego to replace Reggie Bush to take that role. Touchdown. 3rd career punt return for the diminutive Darren Sproles.
I tell you, Courtney Roby made a brilliant block on that one too. Did not watch number 15 right in the middle of your screen. Instead of making a block in the back, he simply ran in front, stuck his hands up in the air, and that was all Darren Sproles needed. Courtney Roby, usually the return guy. Here he's the one making the brilliant block. And Sproles is making them forget about Reggie Bush already.
72 yards for Sproles. And now to try to make it a 4-point game. Casey again, who has an extra point and a field goal, and he has 5 points tonight at the age of 41 as he comes off the shelf. And the Saints are right back in it. 21-17. Sproles, money deal. I mean, it was he was just too expensive for San Diego. Phillip Rivers, we talked to him before the Dallas preseason game, and he was sick when they lost Sproles, but he understood it. Reggie Bush goes to Miami. They pick up Sproles, and he's already made a big impact tonight.
And remember, it was Sproles that jump-started this offense with the catch over the middle, too.
Morstead to kick off. And Randall Cobb, another touchback. So Reggie Bush came to the Saints in 06 after winning the Heisman, which he had to give back, but 4.6 yards per carry for Sproles during his career. More yards per catch, better on the punt return. Reggie had more touchdowns. But not a bad switch.
No, but the Saints were lucky that they were able to find a Darren Sproles. They need that element in their offense. They sort of stretch you horizontally before they stretch you vertically. And to be able to go out and get a Darren Sproles when you lost Reggie Bush, that was fortunate.
Saints, after their 3-and-out stoppage of Green Bay on first down here, Ryan Grant for the Packers for a gain of 3.
Nice job inside this time by the center. Scott Wells going to get up on Jonathan Vilma. That's always the test for a center. Can you get off and up on that second level? And once you do, it creates some lanes. But once again, we're seeing Ryan Grant this time slipping on this end of the field.
Grant hurt on opening day last year. The Packers had 45 different starters last year, most ever for a Super Bowl team, excluding the 87 strike and replacement player season. And that's too deep, intended for Nelson. Third down, Rodgers angry with himself, and we check in with Michelle.
Well, you've talked about the slick field and the guys losing their footing, and indeed it is slick on this end. It seems as though it's either due or it's coming up from under the grass. But I spoke with the Packers equipment manager, Red Batty. There is no plan at this point to change the equipment on the or the shoes of the Packers anyway, and there's been no activity to that end on the Saints side either. So we'll check with Sean Payton at halftime, but right now both teams dealing with it.
Well, Brad Jones also slipped on that punt return as well, so it's affecting both teams. Third down and 7 from the 23-yard line. Rodgers slings it a little low, and it is caught at the 36-yard line. Jennings goes down to get it.
Boy, I tell you, that is some brilliant throw that time. Watch Jennings get inside, but this throw is low and away, and even though Robinson really is right there in position, nothing he can do about it. But almost every big play now, you see them going after Patrick Robinson. The plan is starting to show itself.
201 yards already for Rodgers tonight, who leads every fantasy league at the moment. Donald Driver for 8 yards. The lineman, Jeff Charleston, goes out there to make the tackle. It'll be second down and 1. So that 700th catch in the first quarter, and now 7:01.
I'll tell you, one of my all-time favorites, that guy right there. He grew up a tough life. I won't expand much more than that, but he has come here, and I think he is going to be one of the all-time favorites to wear that G on the side of his helmet.
Second down and 2. Rodgers stepping away from pressure, and then he'll throw that one away. Look down the field. Jermichael Finley, the intended receiver, and Donald Driver. By the time he is done, he's going to have the receiving yardage record as well, eclipsing with 10 more yards James Lofton.
Nobody ever could have imagined. Had tough times with his mom at one time, and living in a van, and finds his way here. Nobody really expects that much out of him, and he just kept getting better. And I tell you, last year he made one of the greatest catches and runs that I've ever seen in the National Football League.
Third down and 2, 6.5 to go in the half. Starks. And James Starks, second year out of Buffalo, 6th-round draft choice, first down. Go to Michelle again.
Talking about Donald Driver, in addition to the milestone of 700 catches, he added one more to his family last night. Had a baby girl named Charity Danette. That's the third child, a son Christian, who's 8, a daughter Christina, who's 6, and now the baby. And he was afraid it might happen tonight, but Lucky for him, it happened last night. Al, he got to be there, videotaped the whole thing, and told me, in fact, that he even got a good night's sleep last night.
Beautiful. Perfect. Good thing it was a night game. 1st and 10 from the 48-yard line. Starks runs right over Harper, and that should net him the first down just shy of the 40-yard line.
Well, now they end up with their blocking tight end in the game, and that's number 83, Tom Crabtree. They kept 5 tight ends. I've never even heard of that before. But anytime you get Crabtree in there, you know there's a good chance they're going to try and get that edge. And he gets it here on the outside. And for James Starks, I think he had about 100 yards rushing during the regular season and over 300 in the playoffs.
From the 41-yard line. Oop, broken play. And down he goes. Starks went one way, Rodgers the other. Starks did come on, there's no question. Grant got hurt on opening day. Their leading rusher last year was Brandon Jackson, no longer with the team. The Saints' leading rusher, Chris Ivory, on injured reserve. So each of these teams with kind of three-headed attacks now, but their leading rusher from last season, not with, at least in the Saints' case, active.
And I'll tell you, he did a nice job blocking in that Pittsburgh Steelers game, one of the most complex schemes defensively, and he learned on the fly and learned in a hurry.
2nd and 11 to the outside. Jennings, slip move right there, beautiful, escapes another tackle, and then Porter, who he beat the first time, has to come from behind to tackle him, but not until he picks up a first down.
Well, can't get much tougher than this for Tracy Porter. One-on-one on the outside with one of the most slippery receivers in the game. Got in his first Pro Bowl last year. 12 touchdown catches. Only one guy better than that, Dwayne Bowe. And there's no doubt about it. After his performance in the Super Bowl, some of those catches, he is superstar material now.
Jennings has caught 5 tonight. Grant is the running back. And on the right side of the line, Junior Gillette comes across. He did get back, so Blakeman gets the word.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 93. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Old veteran play that time by Chad Clifton. Gets Junior Gillette across the line. Oh, that wasn't one of those immediate reactions. We don't play that game that long. Oh, yeah. Oh, that made me flinch. I'm just a little older, so I flinched a little slower.
Clifton's been to a few rodeos. He's also moving those fingers as if to say, come on, even though he's just flexing the hand. 12th year out of Tennessee. 1st and 5 now. And it'll be 2nd down and 1 after Grant is the ball carrier.
Well, now you're starting to see the Saints, after getting gouged in the passing game, playing 2 deep safeties every time. And Mike McCarthy says, fine, you want to do that? We'll turn around. We can run the football. We'll bring Ryan Grant in there. But the strategy has changed for the New Orleans Saints. They were trying to apply pressure early on, play man-to-man coverage. Did not work. Now they're coming back with some zone looks and forcing the Packers to run the football.
2-to-1 ratio, pass to run. Starks is the running back.
There's a pass opportunity here, though.
2nd and 1. Instead, they'll let Starks handle it, and he gets taken down in the backfield. So Scott Shanley with a big tackle there, forcing a 3rd down play.
Well, they were just overloaded in the box. I'm really surprised that Aaron Rodgers didn't check to a pass. 2nd and 1 is such a great passing down because you can always come back. There just weren't enough guys in there to block Shanley. That was a blown opportunity, in my opinion, for the Packers.
Timeout with 2:44 remaining in the half. Saints called it.
This is opening night.
And a good first half, 21-17. The score, the quarterback comparison right now. Rodgers 17 of 22, already 223, 3 touchdown passes all in the quarter. And Breeze 10 for 14, 134. And right now Rodgers trying to get into the end zone again after the Saints took a defensive timeout. 3rd and 3. Rodgers to the outside, loves that play, and that is Crabtree making the catch, and that's a first down. The linebacker Shanley with the coverage.
Well, that's just a great job by Aaron Rodgers. He saw an inside linebacker having to play man coverage on the outside on Crabtree, and just a significant play in the ball game, because that basically is going to take away Drew Brees' opportunity to go the other way. If they make a play there, hold them to a field goal, Brees is going to have a chance to go back and tie it up here before the half.
Starks is the back behind the fullback Kuhn from the 17-yard line. To the outside he goes again for Jennings. Harper is there with the coverage, and the pass is incomplete with 2:05 to the half.
Oh, even when they have the absolutely perfect coverage on, they can't make a play. Roman Harper is running right underneath this thing. They should have had this. He's running right underneath the route, perfectly executed, and they don't get the interception. That's one that you're hoping you catch it and run the other way for a touchdown. Wow, that was a big miss.
Among other things, Harper broke his hand this week in practice. Tough to pick under any circumstances. 2nd down and 10. Starks. First down, touchdown. "17 yards behind a Clifton block."
Second and long. The Saints go conservative. They're willing to give up the run. Mike McCarthy says, "I'll take it." Here's the safeties back here. You get the shell look, so now you get a great run opportunity. Don't know if Rodgers checked to this or not, but James Starks certainly made it pay off.
Crosby, point after. 14 plays with perfect balance. 7 runs, 7 passes, 4 touchdowns in the half. Green Bay by 11. Green Bay has had the ball 5 times tonight, 4 touchdowns, and 1 3-and-out. And now Crosby on a night of touchbacks. And he angles this one away from Sproles. And where does it go out of bounds? It crosses the goal line. Back to the 20. And back to the last drive.
Yeah, let's give a little credit where it's due. Scott Wells, terrific reach block here, which is going to allow TJ Lang to get down on Jonathan Vilma. But because Wells was able to get that reach block without help against Cedric Ellis, Lang was able to clean up against Vilma. Well done.
Saints from the 20-yard line. Saints have 1 timeout. Breeze one-on-one down the left side, and is lucky that wasn't picked by Shields. Henderson had to turn into a defensive back at the end of the play to preclude the interception.
Sam Shields has made such an impression on me, especially during the course of the playoffs. Here's a young man that was given an opportunity to play because they were so afraid of the speed of the Philadelphia Eagles. They just put him out there because he's like their fastest guy. Well, he had a good day that day, and then he kept getting better and better. Then he had the 2 interceptions against the Bears in the championship game, and now he's on the field all the time.
With a Super Bowl ring. 2nd down and 10. Swung over the middle by Breeze, and that'll be a first down into the arms of Devery Henderson. Nick Collins with the pop there. Clock continues to run. First down. From the 35. Here come the Packers. Let's pick up. but only a short gain. Colston makes the catch. Charles Woodson in for what I believe would be his first tackle of the night. First time we've called his name.
Well, that time they dropped Clay Matthews into coverage, trying to throw a little curve to Drew Brees.
2nd and 2 from the 43-yard line. Brees has to pull it down, and down he goes at the line of scrimmage, and he'll take a timeout here as Jarius Wynn makes the stop. Their final timeout. Saints without a timeout. 59 seconds remaining. It's 3rd down and 2 from the Saints' 43-yard line.
And they're moving Clay Matthews all over the place. That time he was playing inside backer and blitz and drew a lot of attention.
Now on the defensive left side, he gets picked up. They swing it out to Sproles. Sproles into Green Bay territory. And it's the best of all cases. Gets the first down and gets out of bounds to stop the clock. Run out by Burnett with 53 ticks at the 41-yard line.
Really nice play here by Jari Evans, the guard, being able to get out in front of this thing. Tough to do against a speedster like Darren Sproles, but he gets just enough. And I tell you, this Darren Sproles is having a monster game. Zach Strief set up outside, invited play inside, and that time it worked against Matthews.
Sproles, the leading receiver tonight, 4 grabs, 60 yards, and of course he had the punt return for the touchdown. Brees with the pump fake. Throws underneath and it's incomplete. Sproles coming away from the sideline. 2nd and 10.
Well, they're playing a soft coverage back in the back, but we basically have coverage everywhere. Charles Woodson, I tell you what, he's a guy that plays linebacker. He's the blitzer on the outside. And when he gets in bump and run, he has no fear against the fastest guy. When he went out in the Super Bowl, I thought the Packers were in big trouble, but they held on thanks to that Clay Matthews hit and fumble.
Picked up the Lombardi Trophy with his arm in a sling after the game, and that pass is broken up.
Wow.
That's Eric Walden. First time we've called his name tonight. The other linebacker, I say other, because when you get Clay Matthews playing on one side, the other guy is the other linebacker.
I would have bet my house that Jimmy Graham wins this battle. The outstanding tight end, Eric Walden, you called it right. He's the other guy, the guy you never talk about, but he'll remember that play. That was some coverage against one of the most athletic tight ends in the game.
Brees hot on 3rd down tonight, 3rd and 10. Dump off Sproles, flag, and the pass results in a very short gain, with the flag coming in for a hold, and he says to McCarthy, going to decline, right?
Holding.
Of course he does.
Offense, number 73. That penalty's declined. It'll be 4th down.
Call by Clete Blakeman. Call on Jari Evans. 4th and 14.
Yeah, Jari Evans is going to get fooled here. B.J. Raji goes outside, and Evans really had no choice that time but to just hook A.J. Hawk, and that was 8 times last season called for holding and already 1 here this season. That's the most by any offensive lineman a season ago.
It's an odd thing, too, because he's regarded as one of the best guards in the league.
Certainly one of the best holders.
Yeah, no doubt. And the punt bounds into the end zone off the foot of Thomas Morstead. So 30 seconds left for Rodgers to try to maybe get them into field goal position with 2 timeouts. You know, everybody's always talking about a Super Bowl hangover. Well, maybe they'll have it at some point, but they sure didn't have it in the first half tonight.
No, they didn't. And all the conversation about the fact that they weren't practicing together, and what did Aaron Rodgers say about that? He said, that's ridiculous. We won't exactly say what he said about that, but he was not buying into it at all. He says it comes down to training camp, and we're ready.
He used an abbreviation with 2 letters.
Yes, he did.
You can figure it out. And Rodgers with a kneel down here, and that'll take us to the end of the first half, and the Lambeau crowd loves it, and why not? 276 yards of offense tonight in the first half for the Green Bay Packers. Brees going over the pictures. The Saints will get the ball when we start the third quarter.
But that was a huge stop. Even a field goal there by the Saints would have put it within 1 touchdown and a 2-point conversion. So big turn of events.
Green Bay by 11 at the half. To the second half, Lambeau Field. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. Opening night of the National Football League season. Saints will get the ball. Down by 11. And Sproles hoping for a chance to run a kickoff back. He took that punt all the way, and Mason Crosby says, not a chance, my man. Another touchback. Saints start from the 20, but first we go to Michelle.
Well, the Packers are 7 of 8 on third down conversions, Al. And Sean Payton told me at halftime they've got to find more ways to get to Aaron Rodgers, and that's something he knew they had to do coming into this game. As for the Packers, well, they're keying in on Darren Sproles now. They know on special teams, on punt returns in particular, and on offense, they have got to key in on him. They also, Mike McCarthy told me we can never get enough pressure on Drew Brees. Hey, by the way, Nick Collins went into halftime early favoring his left arm. He's out here in a splint. McCarthy tells me he'll play out.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. Thank you, Michelle. Collins is in the game to start the second half. And on first down, they give it to Mark Ingram, and there's nothing through the middle. It'll be second down.
Boy, B.J. Raji just continues his dominant play in this game, this time working against a Pro Bowl guard. And Carl Nix get the extension, drive him backwards, come off and make the play. As much as they want to try and get their running game going, you better go somewhere other than there.
Raji, third year, 6.5 sacks last year. That is a lot for a nose tackle. There goes Ingram. And he's close to a first down. Desmond Bishop making the tackle on the play. And they line it up and say, move those chains. First down.
Well, one thing you always see with Mark Ingram is an ability to kind of squeeze into a hole and yet still accelerate. That time Jimmy Graham got a decent block, and Ingram actually bounced off of him and really never seemed to lose any momentum whatsoever.
Ingram in his NFL debut, 6 carries tonight for 23 yards. Off the play fake. Breeze down the sideline, and the pass is incomplete. David Thomas running an out and up, and they can't connect. Second down. Burnett with the coverage.
Well, it's not going to be the answer throwing the ball to David Thomas. He's the guy, he's probably your 4th option. Maybe they were trying to work down the field a little bit on Morgan Burnett, who is the safety that came back injured a year ago, as if the Packers needed one more guy on the defensive side in the secondary. They come up with another one.
Ingram exploits that hole. Bishop makes the tackle. It'll be 3rd and short for the Saints.
Well, they're going back to the guy that has done the best for them right there. Jari Evans is going to just wash Ryan Pickett down, and Ingram sees it, patiently makes the cut and gets in behind it.
Without a huddle on third down, Ingram tries to bull ahead and appears to be short of the first down. Very close.
They just can't move B.J. Raji. And they're trying. They're double teaming him. They're bringing 2 guys on him. They just can't move him.
And they're going to put it right on the line, and that's going to give them the first down. The Packer linemen are saying, come on, what kind of a spot is that?
Raji that time made the tackle with his ribs. A lot of ribs.
Yes, I have plenty. Thinking the same thing. From the 41-yard line to the outside he goes this time, and that's Devery Henderson making the catch, and he gets spilled into the Packer bench at midfield.
It's a nice read that time by Drew Brees. He saw the blitz coming off the edge from Woodson here, and so he just throws right into it because there's not coverage out there. The corner has to play offense inside on that blitz. So maybe now Drew Brees, after a couple of good runs, starting to find his rhythm.
2nd and 1, just shy of the 50-yard line. Ingram again over left guard, and then cuts it back to the right side and takes the ball to the 45-yard line. First down for the Saints. The numbers through the first half favoring the Packers, of course, with 276 total yards in the time of possession, almost 2-1. Rodgers was 18 out of 24 with 3 touchdowns. Opening drive, second half here from the 45-yard line on first down. Breeze throws underneath to Thomas that time. Pierre Thomas to the 40. Second down and 5.
It's just such a significant drive for the Saints. They're allowing their defense to get a little bit more rest. That first half, basically 19 minutes to 10 minutes on the other side. So they've got to balance that out a little bit. I'm sure the reason they're trying to get their running game going, first game of the season, you always get worn down more quickly. You're just not used to playing a full game.
Second and 5. Thomas stays in as the running back. And Breeze throws on a slant. That's caught by Meacham. Beat Shields on the play. And again, they move the chains. First down for the Saints.
Just man coverage on the outside that time, and Meacham had a nice patient route. You're going to see when the tight end releases, you get this movement over here, which opens up the slant. This is starting to look like this Saints offense now, just methodical, and maybe get the feeling they're almost setting you up for a big play.
Both head coaches, the play callers, Sean Payton, Mike McCarthy. On first down, Breeze checks underneath. Third option, breaking away that time is Thomas. He breaks away from the tackle, and instead of it being second down at about 6, it is a first down. To the 15-yard line, it's a gain of 15.
Well, they brought in an extra blocker here to work against Clay Matthews. There he is. Big Charles Brown to play tight end, and they took their shot. They ran the old sluggo, slant and go. The Packers were there, and I'll tell you, Pierre Thomas has made 2 really nice runs tonight.
Ran out of a Bishop arm tackle. Ingram to the 12. It'll be second down and 7. Good looking drive for the Saints here. They've had the ball for the entire third quarter. And there is Payton. And one of the reasons, of course, he got the job is they were looking for a guy who could call the plays. A lot of owners and general managers want their head coach to be a play caller.
They found a good one right there.
Oh, yeah.
Said he's finally figured out that the game plan doesn't mean anything once the game starts. You've got to call it based on what you see during the game.
Second and 7. Breeze, a quick release, is action at the goal line looking for a flag. Nick Collins colliding with Jimmy Graham, but it's incidental contact. No flag. Third down.
Yeah, Nick Collins was basically stationary, and Jimmy Graham ran into him. Watch number 36. He's looking back at the quarterback, and Jimmy Graham runs over him. So that's a great no call by the officials.
Third and 7. Looking through the face mask of Matthews. They flank Sproles wide to the left. Woodson ready to blitz. They pick that up, and then it's knocked down at the line of scrimmage, but a marker. Raji got his hand on it. Matthews came in, but a penalty.
Great job by Breeze mixing up that snap count. Got a free 5, I think.
A free 5 would make it 3rd and 2.
Offside. Defense, number 52. 5-yard penalty. Replay, third down.
Matthews across the line to make it 3rd down now and 2 at the 7.
Breeze knows exactly where that blitz is coming from. Look, he's sliding the line that way. He's saying they're coming to my right over here. They just got a little anxious. Jumped the gun on that blitz. Now it's very manageable.
From the 7. 3rd and 2. They go 4 wide with only Collins left in the backfield. He blocks Matthews momentarily, but the other side takes care of him. Eric Walden. They took care of Matthews initially, but then Walden breaks free from the right defensive side for a big sack.
Well, this is supposed to be a quick throw here by Drew Brees, and the fact nobody was open, They don't even block Eric Walden on the backside, and they're really not supposed to, because Breeze is going to roll the other way. They're going to try and slide the line that way, but when Breeze didn't find anybody open, he really should have thrown that football away.
So now a 38-yard field goal attempt coming up for the left-footed Casey, taking the place of the injured Garrett Hartley. And Casey's kick is good from 38. 8:40 remaining, third quarter. Saints now down by 8. More than 70,000 at Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Picture perfect night, opening night. 8-point game. Morstead to kick off. And from 8 yards back, Cobb is going to bring it back. And the rookie breaking tackles on his way into Saints territory, and the second-round draft choice goes all the way for a touchdown. Wow. 108 yards in his NFL debut.
He was down. This is unbelievable. They flip him upside down. Another slip. Look at that. He basically does a barrel roll and comes out and scores a touchdown. Son of a gun. What a game he's having.
Well, all he did in his NFL debut is tie an NFL record longest kickoff return. Now, the longest return of any kind was 109 by Cromartie in San Diego on a field goal attempt at the end of a half. This ties the NFL record for the longest touchdown return. Crosby for the extra point. So the Packers said, among other things, we need to upgrade special teams. They did. 35-20.
Wow. Randall Cobb, I felt sorry for him getting drafted here. I said, there's no way he's ever going to get on the field with all these receivers. 2 touchdowns already in his debut.
1 receiving ties the NFL record. Ellis Hobbs had a 108-yard return for New England against the Jets in the 07 season. Now here's Sproles, and he's run one back off a punt. Sproles past the 30, 40. This is unbelievable. And finally ridden out of bounds by Shields after he crosses the 50-yard line. 8:19 left third quarter. Wild opening night. Great. 35-20 Green Bay. Well, here at Lambeau Field, a lot of memories, of course, in the museum, the Lombardi Trophy, the video of the great Vince Lombardi, the coach of the Packers back in the 60s. And there's his grandson, Joe Lombardi, who is the quarterback's coach for the Saints. So he coaches Drew Brees, and Brees was telling us a great story last night about when they won the Super Bowl in Miami a couple of years ago. The bus ride back from the stadium in Miami that night, as Brees leads them to the line, 46-yard line. This is Ingram. So they're riding back as Ingram gets taken down by Matthews. They're riding back to the hotel, and it's one of those just delicious rides. They've won the Super Bowl. They want the bus to keep going around the block, and they're passing the Lombardi Trophy all around the bus, and it finally winds up in the arms of Joe Lombardi, and he just sits there and looks at it. And it was Brees saying, you know, I just looked over there and I said, how could it be any better than this? Grandfather and grandson, Joe Lombardi, holding the Lombardi Trophy.
Joe's dad and Vince's son said on the Today Show that he was cheering for the Saints.
Right.
Pretty interesting twist.
2nd and 12. Brees deep over the middle, and that's caught. And that's Marcus Colston making the catch, working the middle. Sam Shields in on the stop. First down for the Saints.
Well, that time they just come back with a little bit of a zone. You get the end cut back inside against Shields there. You just get the feeling now that this has become one of those kind of games that if you can avoid the big play, you've got a shot. Drew Brees has to be sick after watching Randall Cobb run that one back. He got his team back in the game. He's got to do it again now.
That shoulder shake, pump fake, and it's caught down the sideline. Touchdown, number 19, Devery Henderson. And they're going to say that Henderson now may have stepped out of bounds at the 2. Remember, it's reviewable. Every scoring play is reviewable, so obviously they're going to take a look upstairs to see if he did indeed step out. Makes the catch. Does he step out? With the left foot. Ooh, boy, is that close. There's a little bit of green there.
They're going to hold this one up. They give him a good look. You can see the official on the field. If they called it a touchdown, could you overturn it based on that? I'm not sure.
And Blakeman has put the pager away. So upstairs, they saw what we saw. There was just that little thin sliver of green, enough to say touchdown. Now Casey for the extra point, and that is good. So people worried about long delays and everything. None there, and that was about as close as it gets. Touchdown. Devery Henderson back to an 8-point game. 62 points already in about 2.5 quarters. Morstead's kick. Well, this time, well, Cobb figures 108 yards one time is enough.
Probably exhausted.
And there's the quarterback comparison. Big nights for both guys.
You know, the only difference, the Packers have 5 touchdowns, the Saints 3 touchdowns, and the 2 field goals. And, you know, you say that's not much, but those red zone stops have really been the only difference. Each team with a kick return for a touchdown. That was as exciting as you can get.
One turnover, and that did cost the Saints a touchdown. They turned it over on their first possession on a fumble after a catch. And Green Bay went in to take a 14-0 lead. First down from the 20-yard line. Underneath, that's caught by John Kuhn, with the crowd serenading him. Gain of 8, 2nd and 2.
You know, they used to have so many fullbacks here. Remember the last couple of years they kept 3 fullbacks. Now they're down to 1, just John Kuhn, and they've got 5 tight ends. So kind of an interesting alignment. I think in part they did that for special teams purposes, but maybe if one part of the game is going to be impacted with the lockout and the lesser time, it's the special teams. They have not been good tonight.
2nd and a short 3. Just outside the 27. And Rodgers' pass is incomplete, intended for Donald Driver, covered on the play by Jabari Greer. 3rd down.
Yeah, and it looked like that time that was kind of fortunate for Aaron Rodgers. Looked like he got his arm hit on the throw, or at least his running back got blocked back into Aaron Rodgers here. This ball could have easily ended up one of those floaters that goes for an interception the other way, so a break for the Packers.
3rd and 3. 3 receivers on the right side. Rodgers going that way, and the pass incomplete. Again intended for Driver. Greer covering, and the Packers will punt for the 2nd time.
Well, there haven't been many good defensive plays, but you have to say that Jabari Greer on 3rd down now has made 2 key ones. They're not punting very often, and usually when they do, they go for touchdowns, but at least they're going to get the ball back here with an opportunity to tie the game, which is pretty remarkable after all the things the Saints have been through.
Could tie it on a punt return with Sproles back. Mastay with a line drive, end over end kick. Sproles at the 30-yard line. Look out. To the outside he goes, and then he's taken down because the cover man had the angle on him at the 49-yard line. DJ Smith able to knock him down at midfield. 8-point game.
This is opening night.
And a pretty memorable one at that. 35-27 Packers. From the 49, the Saints begin this drive with Breeze throwing to the outside. That is caught, and It's Henderson breaking a couple of tackles, and that nets a first down. Got away from Shields, and then from Matthews, first down.
I'm sure Packers fans were screaming for a clip on that last punt return, but watch Patrick Robinson get his right hand on the shoulder pad and now push him backwards off of that, turn that shoulder. That's the reason there was no penalty called on that play. I think that's a good call by the officials.
From the 36, Thomas, the 31. Breeze with a couple of touchdown passes tonight. He's now thrown a touchdown pass with a flag down here. Little post-play skirmish. Breeze has now thrown a touchdown pass in 28 consecutive games, which is very impressive. But then you think about Johnny Unitas, and Breeze is just a little bit more than halfway to Johnny U's 47.
You know, Al, what's remarkable about what's taking place here tonight, these offenses are lightening up against the two top defenses in the NFC from a season ago. I mean, these are no slouches, these defenses they're playing against.
Cleve Blakeman to make the call.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 21. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the run. First down, New Orleans.
Charles Woodson. Go back and look at this thing.
Well, Woodson sort of came up on a blitz, and then right at the tail end there, oh, you see uppercut. Woodson with an uppercut down low, and the officials right there and saw it.
Yep. David Thomas.
I tell you, it's Woodson's lucky he didn't get thrown out. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's throwing a punch, and that would have been a big toss out for the Packers.
From the 16-yard line, the inside handoff to Sproles. Scoop to the outside. And Sproles takes it to the 8-yard line. Well, if Tony Dungy, our buddy, never coaches again, the last play of his career was a Darren Sproles touchdown.
Let's watch Woodson here.
Yeah.
Right there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that should have been an ejection. As I understand the rules, you see a punch thrown, he should have been gone. Nice job by the Saints not getting the retaliatory penalty and getting down inside the 10 now.
Charles will be getting some mail this week. 2nd and 3. Inside handoff. Thomas gets bunched up. Appears to be just short of the first down. They'll take another look.
Boy, was that a good tackle right there. You know, so many times we talk about bad tackles. That was just rock solid. It looked like Pierre Thomas was just going to go right through those linebackers for the first down. He was right at the marker. And Hawk and Bishop just nothing. One on each side. That was beautifully done.
Going to make a 3rd down and inches. And Breeze is going to take a timeout, their first. Opening night, Sean Payton, Mike McCarthy coaching the last 2 Super Bowl winners. And right now, after the Saints take a timeout, their first of the half, it's 3rd down and inches from the 6-yard line. They have Ingram in the game as the running back. Collins the fullback, and they give it to Ingram. He puts his head down, and when the umpire will find out. Looks to be a little short again.
Well, David Thomas really got pushed back on the play by Jarius Wynn, and Ingram ran sort of right into David Thomas.
And now what? Payton trying to get a better look at just how much they need.
Right over here, watch this one. He's going to get pushed backwards by Jarius Wynn, who makes the play and really nowhere to go. And this is pretty big decision time coming up here. I've got to think that Sean Payton's going to go for this one.
Clock stoppage for the measurement. So there you have it. That's 6 links Which way do you go here?
Well, you've got 2 all-pro guards, but so far tonight, it's been the guys on the other side, B.J. Raji, Jarius Wynn, Ryan Pickett winning that battle. How much do you trust your new power back, Mark Ingram?
I go for it here. Pierre Thomas now is the back, so Ingram's not even in there at the moment. They go to the veteran Thomas. Pierre. They fake it to him. Breeze running for his life, spinning all the way around, throws, incomplete. I'd have gone for the field goal.
That was a direct result of the whipping that the Green Bay Packers, B.J. Raji, Ryan Pickett, Jarius Wynn have been putting on a very good New Orleans Saints offensive line. You could tell Sean Payton just didn't trust them to go get that foot or so. And the Packers, with the coverage down the field, made the play. But give those guys credit. They sort of intimidated Sean Payton out of playing power football down there inside the 10.
And so it remains an 8-point game. And now we'll see if that Saint defense can stiffen and at least give the offense a chance to get the ball back in fairly decent field position. Rodgers hands the ball to Starks, and Starks is able to spin away from the tackle and get to the 11-yard line.
Yeah, and on the flip side of it, we haven't had much of a chance to talk about the defensive line now for the New Orleans Saints. A lot of changes up there. Abrea Franklin coming over from San Francisco. Sean Rogers, Cameron Jordan, the draft pick. We talked about Will Smith not being here because of the suspension. Not quite as intimidating on that side tonight, and not a lot of running plays to deal with.
2nd down and 6. Here they come on a blitz, and Rodgers gets it away into traffic, and it's Jennings with a flag down, making the catch with a coverage by Greer up at the 33-yard line.
I mean, Jabari Greer is in perfect position, and Greg Jennings does what he always does, just make remarkable catch after remarkable catch.
Well, offense or defense, you see you've got 4 officials all gathering along the far side.
Pass interference. Defense, number 33. The ball he plays to the spot of foul. 1st down, Green Bay.
Jennings does a great job setting up Jabari Greer inside, but Greer's coverage really pretty good. But you could see Greer put his hand on Jennings' arm, and he was still able to make this catch. I'll tell you, Al, a couple of catches that Greg Jennings made in that Super Bowl, I still find amazing. I mean, they were in there by inches. One got tipped, that 3rd down play, that was as good as I've seen.
Coming of age performance for him. 2 minutes to the end of the 3rd, and open and making the catch. This time it's Jennings again on the left side. Going to work on Robinson. Back to the Cowboy Stadium Super Bowl we go.
There we go. Slipping it right inside Ryan Grant. That one just by inches for the touchdown, and I don't know how he held on to that after that hit by Polamalu. And then this 3rd down throw, look at this coverage. The ball was tipped by Ike Taylor, and somehow Jennings held on to it. Just a remarkable performance. Aaron Rodgers deserved the MVP, but Clay Matthews and Greg Jennings certainly co-favorites.
And that guy had a pretty good day too, Jordy Nelson, who picks up 8 here.
Yeah, Jordy Nelson really did. He had some tough moments in that game. Remember that? He had some drops, but I thought Aaron Rodgers, being the emerging quarterback that he is, so smart, came right back to Jordy Nelson on that crossing route that was so big in the game.
He played at Kansas State. Josh Freeman, Tampa Bay quarterback, 140 yards receiving, breaking a Packer record set by Max McGee. Starks picks up the 1st down.
Well, you can really tell that Aaron Rodgers knows every nuance of this offense. That time Jermichael Finley went in motion And Rodgers could see that he went too wide. It was an inside run. Look at him. He's going to say, get back, get back. Get in here. It's in here. There you go. Now we got something. Now run the play. Think he makes that call 3 years ago? Probably not. He is just, as you described in the open, one of those guys that has turned his game into superstar status.
Waning seconds of the quarter. Ryan Grant is the back. And here goes Grant, who started his career with the Giants. 2 big years here before he got hurt last year, and that takes us to the fourth quarter. After 3 and a good one, Green Bay 35, New Orleans 27. And this NFL kickoff special on NBC resumes after these messages from your local station.
This is opening night.
Green Bay opening night. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, and Michelle Tafoya. The 2011 season getting underway. Packers have the ball, lead by 8, second down and 8 at the Saints' 40-yard line.
Blitz coverage here, one-on-one everywhere. No, they pull out of it.
And then it's caught outside by Jordy Nelson, who's wide open and takes the ball to the 23-yard line. This drive started back at the 7-yard line after a 4th and 1 was unsuccessful. 17-yard gain here.
Yeah, 10 yards off. If you're going to run out and play a zone, kind of an interesting call, because what you encouraged Aaron Rodgers to do there was to check to a quick throw. They thought they were coming with the blitz, so he checks to the quick throw. Why would you play 10 yards off of that? Makes no sense.
On first down, Rodgers hassled, throws, and turns what might have been a sack. We're throwing it away into a 9-yard gain to Driver, covered by Vilma. It'll be 2nd and 1.
I tell you, give T.J. Lang some credit. He was getting driven back at the left guard position, but he hung in there. But Aaron Rodgers is just going to manipulate this pocket. He wanted to throw it away. He just keeps moving. He has the kind of feet that can make plays that not many quarterbacks have. You talk about some of the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Mannings. They don't have the ability to make that play.
2nd and 1, and the Saints have to take another timeout. So in a game where they have to come from behind, they've already spent 2 of their 3 second-half timeouts. Looking on with more than 70,000, 2nd and 1 after the Saints had to take a defensive timeout. The running back is Starks. They give it to Kuhn, the fullback, and Kuhn to the 10-yard line. First down.
Well, when the Packers need a yard, they're able to get their double team and pick it up. When the Saints have needed it, they haven't been able to do it. Here's the double team that happens right here. They get the movement. Clifton gets up on the linebacker and pick up your first down. Give a lot of credit to that Packer defensive line tonight. They have been very stout.
Inside give. Starks. 7-yard line. By the way, the Saints called that timeout because they had 3 defensive linemen lined up on the left defensive side. Big gap to the right defensive side, or the Packers left. Vilma saw it, and as they began to run the play, Vilma caught it because they were going to send Starks off the left side and he would have been free.
Yeah, they basically had 4-on-3 on that side, and you hate burning the timeout, but you don't want to give up a walk-in touchdown either.
2nd down and goal from the 8. That's caught. Nelson will take the ball to the 1-yard line. Jordy Nelson almost gets in. Greer and Porter save it for the moment. 3rd down and goal from the 1.
Well, the Saints basically have been driven out of their man coverage down here. There's Jordy Nelson right there. And so now it's just kind of go down and sit down in the zone, and there you go. I tell you, Aaron Rodgers has been spot on all night, hasn't he? He just hasn't made a mistake. He's reading everything absolutely perfectly.
3rd and goal. He's already thrown for over 300 yards. Starks is the back. They give it to Kuhn, and he goes. Touchdown. This Lambeau leap will be about 7-8 on the Richter scale.
I tell you, Bart Starr loves it, and he should love Scott Wells up front for the Green Bay Packers. This guy has just played a tremendous game. Huge Sean Rogers over his head, and he takes him right back into the end zone a la Jerry Kramer. That's the second big play we've seen out of Scott Wells for touchdowns.
Mason Crosby with a 6th extra point tonight. Packers have gone 76, 36, 80, 80, 93 yards on touchdown drives tonight, 42-27. Meanwhile, 8 touchbacks tonight. Last year, 2 all year. Most in one game ever at Lambeau. It would figure because they moved the kickoff back to the 35-yard line. We'll see if Crosby. Nope. This one is going to be a short kick to the 19-yard line. Just want to make sure that Sproles doesn't have any opportunity, and Collins takes the ball back.
Drew Brees, Purdue Boilermaker.
This game's a long way from over with Drew Brees. The play action sucks up Nick Collins on a 3rd and short. Goes over the top for the touchdown to Meacham, and then comes right back, holds the safety with that little pump fake. Comes back and hits Henderson for the touchdown. So it's just been the mistakes, and not converting on that 4th down looms large. I think that Sean Payton probably went for it as much because of what the Packers are doing on offense as anything else.
Agreed. From the 26-yard line, the pass is incomplete. Meacham looks for a flag and doesn't find one. Shields with the coverage. 2nd and 10. I mean, in a way, you're thinking, well, you're in a track meet. You're playing some other team. You might go for the field goal at that point, narrow it to 5. But in this particular case, you haven't shown anything where you can stop the Packer offense.
But they're still in it. You know, this is an offense that can score points in a hurry.
2nd and 10. Outside, Meacham, and Meacham gets taken down, and that is Williams throwing his body in front of the receiver to knock him down.
That's the second really good tackle we've seen out of Tramon Williams. There was nobody out there on that side of the field as a wide receiver. You really feel like if you get this much space, you ought to be able to make somebody miss and go score. And Tramon Williams just had none of it. Nice play. He has really turned into some player.
3rd and 4 from the 32. And Brees will go down on a blitz. That's Jared Bush. Made a couple of very big plays when he had to come in the Super Bowl. Comes flying through the middle and puts Brees on his back.
Yeah, right here's the problem. Darren Sproles is going to look away. He thought the blitzer was coming the other way, and he just got lulled to sleep that time. And the Green Bay Packers and Dom Capers dial up a blitz and come up big.
First career sack for Bush, 10-yard sack. Morstead, good high deep punt, fielded at the 25 by Cobb. One man misses him. He already has a run back for a touchdown tonight, but there's a flag down to the 43. He goes. Flag, 2 flags in fact, all the way back at the 30-yard line. Cobb of the earlier 108-yard kickoff return. And Cleve Blakeman starts the march back. Might be on a Crabtree.
During the return, illegal block in the back. The return team, number 30. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Green Bay.
Calling on Kuhn, block in the back. 10.5 to go. 15-point game. There were 2 flags on that run back. One was Kuhn, who they called. The other could have been called on Crabtree. In the meantime, you've got Starks now for a 9-yard gain. So this Packer offense shredding the Saints defense, and the Saints had hoped to erase the bitter taste of that playoff loss in Seattle, but they've done anything but tonight.
I'm going to put Scott Wells in the Pro Bowl tonight. Watch him. He is quick to the hole, pushing guys out, getting the next guy. He's played a great game, and for the New Orleans Saints right now, they have to be able to stop the run. That has been their Achilles heel. They come up with some new guys, and Sean Rogers and Abreu Franklin trying to get better up front. And now they're going to have to apply that pressure against the run.
And they drafted Cam Jordan in the first round, and Rodgers is going to take Green Bay's first timeout. So 42-27, Packers on top. You know, it kind of figured to be a track meet, but more scoring than I think even the two of us thought.
Yeah, well, you know, last year we had this game, and when Brett Favre was going to New Orleans to play against Drew Brees, and we're going, oh boy, it's going to be one of those shootout kind of games, and it was 14-9. So, you know, who knows? But for Aaron Rodgers, here's a guy, how hot is he? Remember he was telling us last night during the offseason he broke par in golf and had a hole-in-one. Everything's going right for this guy.
Perfect, absolutely. And you know, we talked earlier about a Super Bowl hangover. Certainly it hasn't applied since the NFL went to these Thursday night openers 7 years ago, because the home team, the champion, has won every game, and right now the home team's leading by 15 points.
Yeah, it has been some show by the champ so far.
2nd and inches. Starks, the running back. Give it to him, cuts it back, runs over one defender to pick up the first down. Harper coming up. 2 rings. You go back to the Saints ring for winning it after the 09 campaign, and there's a look at what will be on the rings of, or the ring fingers of the Green Bay Packers. Go back to Super Bowl I after the 1966 season, when the Green Bay Packers met the Kansas City Chiefs and beat them in the Los Angeles Coliseum before a crowd of about 66,000 and some 35,000 empty seats.
And Max McGee got short change.
Yep. Here's Ryan Grant. We mentioned McGee's name before, with Nelson breaking McGee's record. Nelson got some sleep the night before the Super Bowl last year. Of course, McGee is legendary for getting no sleep before Super Bowl I.
Did all right, though, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. Ryan Grant's doing all right tonight, too. They're happy to have him back. We asked him, Aaron Rodgers, about what it meant to have Ryan Grant back. He said, it just gives us legitimacy back there. You know, people can't play nickel coverage against us all the time because we've got a back that ran for 1,200 yards twice now.
2nd and a deuce. And they give it to Ryan Grant. Grant up to the 44-yard line, another first down, and keep taking time off that clock.
I'll tell you, the hardest time to run the football is when you know the defense is loaded up against the run. But let's give some credit to the big guys up front. I tell you, they have played a great game here tonight. I was a little worried about the pass protection coming in. They had struggled a little bit during the course of the preseason, but really tonight rock solid, and probably the suspension of Will Smith didn't help matters at all for the Saints.
Right. From the 43. Grant. And one thing the Packers were wondering about in a way, I mean, Clifton's been great. Chad Clifton, 12th year in the league, but the oldest left tackle in the league, and it's time to start thinking about the future, and that's why they picked up Derek Sherrod out of Mississippi State, made him the #1 pick, but Clifton has held on to his job, and Sherrod is inactive tonight.
Yeah, and Sherrod's not ready yet. I can tell you that right now, and really maybe the biggest impact of the lockout, and we've seen it other places as well, is these young offensive linemen just have not had those OTAs and mini camps to develop, and they're not having the impact that sometimes they do in the league this early.
Off the play fake, and that's a blitz by the safety Roman Harper, who comes flying through to put Rodgers on the grass.
One of the dangers of play faking and having the back have to block is sometimes you do the play fake and then you miss the block. You know, it's sort of that double-edged sword. What you teach the backs in that situation is forget the fake. Make sure you protect your quarterback. And that time James Starks a little too serious about his fake, and Harper got him.
9-yard sack. Since 06, second most to Adrian Wilson in sacks by a defensive back. 3rd down and 18. To the outside, and that is James Jones who gets into the action. Jabari Greer covering on the play. And for James Jones, his first catch of the game.
Yeah, nice job by Jabari Greer, but a good call by Greg Williams. You've got 3rd and very long. Blitz everybody, force them to throw the hot read, come up and make the tackle. And now your best hope is out there on the field, and Darren Sproles. He has been everything they hoped he might be and more, replacing Reggie Bush. I wonder if they're even going to kick to him.
Under 6 minutes to go. They're taking the play clock all the way down. Again, the Saints only have that one timeout left. And he angles that kick down the sideline and then out of bounds. So it's a short kick, and they weren't going to let Sproles do a number on him again. 5.5 left in regulation. The Packers on top, 42-27 on opening night. Lambeau Field, Green Bay, before a pretty delighted crowd at this point. Packers have never trailed, up by 15, 5.5 to go from the 24-yard line. Drew Brees taking the snap from the ex-Bear Krutz and throws it into the ground. Intended for the tight end Graham, covered by Hawk. And it'll be 2nd down.
I tell you, it has been more a case of coverage being a bigger issue for the Saints tonight than pressure. Give the guys up front there, Zach Streif and Olin Krutz, some of the new guys on that offensive line. It has been much more the case that the secondary is winning the battle than the offensive line is losing it.
Brees finds the open man. His target down the sideline here is Devery Henderson for a 1st down.
Now they go to the no huddle. Obviously, they've got to get it cranking here. Still plenty of time in this game, though. We know the Saints are pretty good at onside kicks from the Super Bowl experience we had.
Yeah, but they got rid of the guy who recovered it. On 1st down with 5 minutes to go. The pass into traffic over the middle is caught by Jimmy Graham. So the tight end makes his 2nd grab of the night. And again, hustling up to the line of scrimmage of the Saints.
That time they got Eric Walden. Earlier, Eric Walden got Jimmy Graham.
From the 37-yard line. Blitz coming. Brees stepping up, stepping away, goes down to the 35-yard line. Escapes the sack, picks up a couple of yards on the ground.
Well, Pierre Thomas got there just in time this time, coming over. Both inside backers come, and he gets just enough of A.J. Hawk to allow Brees to step up and make a play.
2nd and 7. To the right side and falling down that time is Robert Meacham. Slipped outside the 20-yard line, setting up a 3rd and 7.
You know, they've had some problems keeping their feet, and sometimes it's more your legs than your feet at this point in the game. You get the hurry up. Just kind of looks, I don't think he really, it's kind of bizarre. You know, almost like his legs gave out on him. A little behind him, I guess. No choice here. You got to go for it on 3rd and 4th down regardless.
Absolutely. 4:10 to go, down by 15 with 1 timeout, 2 plays to get the first. Brees throws, and he's gonna, I was gonna say needs another play, but he doesn't, because Thomas is able to spin away from Hawk. Hawk would have had him behind the line. It would have been 4th down. You got an injured Packer right now, and a 1st down, and that stops the clock. Tramon Williams is down. And for the first time in the game tonight, we've got an injury timeout with the cornerback down.
And this missed tackle by A.J. Hawk could be significant of Tremont Williams, who got hit in the right arm, it looked like, as he was coming through there. Ends up injured on the play. Ouch.
So they attend to the cornerback who really came on beautifully last year, became one of the best in the league after he'd been around for a while. And in agony, they'll check him out on the Packers sideline.
Never a good sign when you're holding the arm. Don't like to see that one. We'll give you a full report as soon as we know something. Jared Bush will now come in and play that position. So let's see if he ends up being the one under attack. Of course, the same thing happened in the Super Bowl where they lose the 2 cornerbacks and no problem. Subs come in, Bush comes in, and they hold the fort.
Did his job, did it well. Clock starts up again after the injury timeout. First down from the 25-yard line. Breeze from the pocket to the end zone, and they do go to work on the new guy, Henderson, the intended receiver, but Bush is right there. 2nd and 10.
I don't know what happened to Henderson, but he kind of just slows down on the play. They go right after the new guy, as you knew they would, and really that was sort of a catchable ball. If Henderson had been able to pick it up, I think he would have undercut Bush and be able to make a play, but good coverage that time by Jared Bush.
2nd and 10 from the 25-yard line. Blitz. Breeze has to roll away, and that pass is behind Colston. That's incomplete. He's covered by Collins, and it's 3rd down. Pat Lee came on a corner blitz that time.
And I think Drew Brees thought Marcus Colston was going to come out of that a little bit sharper. And now we're starting to tick down here. 3.5 to go, and you got to stick it in the end zone.
Three receivers to the left and 2 to the right. They go 5 wide on 3rd and 10. And Breeze guns it over the middle, and the catch is made. Great catch at the 5 by Marcus Colston. And Breeze says, all right, let's huddle up here on 1st down and goal. Great catch.
Boy, 2 good players going at it right there. Marcus Colston gets the inside release there against Woodson, and just big enough to kind of hold him off with that rebound position.
Sproles is the back. They give it to Sproles, and Sproles gets decked just past the line of scrimmage. Jarius Wynn.
Jarius Wynn actually got knocked down on the play and ended up making the tackle. It's the 2nd big play he made. He was the one on that 3rd and 1 short yardage run that stuffed David Thomas in the backfield. That's his 2nd big play of the night.
2nd down and goal. 2.5 remaining. Over the middle, batted, incomplete. B.J. Raji right in the middle of the action. Again, 3rd down and goal.
I tell you what I admire about B.J. Raji is he plays a lot of snaps. He played 85% of the snaps a season ago. The next closest defensive lineman was Cullen Jenkins at 45%. He has major impacts on games.
It's around 1,000 snaps. It's amazing. 3rd and goal. Breeze. The fake to the outside to Graham. Touchdown. Touchdown Saints. And that's going to make it, if they make the extra point here, you're going to need 1 and 2. And they'll go for 1 here and then try to get an onside kick if they so elect to kick one, and then go for the 2.
Fake left, fake the draw, pump fake over the middle. Good luck defense out to Jimmy Graham. That is some goal line play right there. Watch Breeze fake it left, fake the draw, pump it over the middle. My head was spinning. I'm sure the safeties were for the Packers too.
To make it an 8-point game, Casey bangs it through. So now you're in a position where you don't have to onside kick, but then again, your defense has to go against their offense. You do have one timeout. You do have the 2-minute warning. So in effect, you've got 2 timeouts.
I don't think you have a choice, do you?
I don't think, no, not against the Packers. If it was somebody else, I would trust my defense, or I could trust my defense.
Or maybe if you had all your timeouts, you're thinking about it, but I don't know. I think you get one shot to get the ball, and I'm taking it right here.
Yep. Quarterback comparison, 348 for Breeze. Fantasy players. Some are off to a pretty good start. You have either of these two guys. We talked about that onside kick in the Super Bowl. Of course, that was a surprise onside kick that started the second half and was a huge factor.
That was a little bit more than a surprise. You have any word stronger than that? Shocking.
Stunning.
Stunning.
Insane.
Incredible courage by the coach.
Nuts.
Nuts was one I was thinking when I saw it. I tell you, I still think that was the bravest call that I've ever seen in any Super Bowl game. If they don't get that and Peyton Manning goes down and scores on that one, he is remembered forever as the guy who did the nuttiest thing in the Super Bowl.
Well, now Casey, who normally would not kick off, but the veteran, and he knows how to kick onside kicks. He's going to bounce one, and it's going to be recovered by the Packers. It's Donald Driver. You put the good hands guys out there, and Donald Driver comes up with the football.
Well, one of the problems that the Saints had on this one was it was having a hard time getting to the 10-yard mark. It was sort of bouncing around here, and you got to wait. Now's the first time that they could actually go for it, and Donald Driver just beat him to the ball. That takes a lot of guts right there. I played that position on the hands team a long time, and believe me, you take some unbelievable hits trying to do stuff like that.
Ball is at the 43, so the game is not over. Of course, you still have a timeout. You still have the 2-minute warning, so they can stop it twice, but they have to stop the Packers. And a field goal would, in effect, end it. And 1 first down, and they'll be in field goal range to give the ball to Starks. I would take the timeout here, and they do. So it's going to be 2nd down. Taking the timeout on the front side of the 2-minute warning. Then they'll stop the clock. Hope to set them up in a 3rd and long, and then somehow get the ball back without the Packers getting into field goal range.
Here's where you earn your money as a head coach. You have the hottest quarterback going in Aaron Rodgers. He has been nothing short of sensational. Although the Saints have had trouble stopping the run, it would be difficult for me to not put the ball in his hands, but they're probably thinking if you run it here, at least you're going to get to the 2-minute warning. The worst of all would be throwing an incomplete pass and leaving a little time on that clock.
Looking at Sean Payton, one story we didn't tell tonight, some of you know it, is that Payton was interviewed for the Green Bay job when it was open. He wanted it. He really wanted it. And the Saints had also offered him the job. And then Green Bay decided to tell him, no, we're going with McCarthy. And then he winds up with the Saints. And they each have a Super Bowl ring.
Ain't that all right?
Yep. 2nd and 8. Starks is going to take it to the 36. That takes us to the 2-minute warning. And on the other side of the 2-minute warning, it'll be 3rd down and 3 from the 36-yard line. A beauty on opening night in Packerland. So it comes down to this. A first down would in effect end the game. It's 3rd down and 4. Starks is the back. Rodgers to the outside, and that is only to the line of scrimmage where Kuhn makes the catch. And now the Packers are going to let the clock, no matter what they do, run down as far as they can, and they're going to send in the punt team here. You don't want to be messing around with trying a 55-yard field goal, because if you miss it, you're going to give New Orleans the ball at the 45-yard line. So Sproles goes back, and Mastay will kick.
You know, and that's a really disappointing play for the Green Bay Packers, because even if they had picked up a couple of yards, conceivably they could have gone for it on 4th down. but by basically getting nothing, now they're forcing themselves into a punt situation. So I'm sure McCarthy was thinking, you know, the worst I'm going to get out of this is maybe a 4th and 1 and potentially going for it.
Yeah, but I'm not sure I would go for it on 4th and 1 at this one. I'm going to give the Saints as long a field to traverse as I can.
You can tell McCarthy not happy with that, but that wasn't one of those plays that was necessarily throwing the thing down there. It would have been an interesting decision if they had gotten that thing down to about the 34-yard line. Tough call.
I'd rather them go 80, which is what they would go even if you kick the touchback here, than 66.
I'm willing to bet Darren Sproles never touches this ball. You want to take that?
I'm saying it's about 10 to 1 that he will. He doesn't want to pull a Matt Dodge here. And that kick, well, how perfect is that? How perfect is that?
But his feet slid in the end zone.
Right.
Anytime it's like the out-of-bounds play in basketball, if your feet touch the line or is inside.
Well, take a look at this. Bush is going to think that he was down before his feet went into the end zone. When I say how perfect,
touchback. First down at the 20-yard line.
When I say how perfect, I'm talking about.
Maybe.
I'm talking about the
punt.
That
knee hit.
Does he have possession and is the knee down before he slides into the end zone, which in effect is the goal line?
If you can say that knee is down right there.
And again, there are no coaches' challenges. It can be reviewed, but it would have to be reviewed upstairs, and they're not going to review it because the coaches have no challenges in the last 2 minutes. And that's Sproles making the catch, and Sproles is out of bounds at the 30-yard line. So a perfect punt. It looked like Bush was able to get his knee down before he slid into the end zone, but they say no.
I think, though, that if you catch it and slide into the end zone, I'm not sure on that one. I'm not so sure that's not still a touchback.
When they reviewed it, the word we're getting from the replay booth is they're saying his foot was in the end zone. Here's Breeze, and that is caught by Jimmy Graham, and Graham is out of bounds at the 41-yard line. So you're down to 55 seconds and 59 yards and a 2-point conversion. Take a look again. Well, they're saying he's in the end zone. When does he have possession of it? Boy, it's close.
Close.
It could be. It could be. It's a continuous play, as you say, where the ruling is his momentum took him there, and therefore he is in the end zone. Here's Breeze.
Wow, here we go.
And Breeze hits Meacham, and Meacham goes down because Meacham knows he's going to get tackled, so he wants to get right back up. To the line they go without a timeout. 40 seconds remaining.
Unlike college football, that clock doesn't stop after a first down.
And Breeze throws into traffic, and how did he thread that baby in there? To Marcus Colston. Colston to the 18-yard line. 24, 23, and ticking down.
Not spiking the ball. He's going after this thing right now, not letting the Packers get settled.
From the 18, over the middle.
You got to hurry now.
To the 9-yard line. Now do you spike it? He's got to spike it, I think.
Go.
Or take a shot. Here's Breeze, 5 seconds. And he spikes it here to leave him one play.
Wow.
And just to go back one more time to the punt itself, it's a continuous play situation where if you do slide in, even though you stop the ball outside the goal line, which he did, it's still a touchback.
How good has Drew Brees been tonight, and in particular on this drive? And Marcus Colston once again comes up big. Yes, the ball did touch the ground, but did not move. Clean catch.
419 yards for Brees. But can he get 10 more? And a 2-point conversion. Rolling. Throwing.
Pass
Knocked
interference.
down. Pass interference, though, in the end zone, which will extend the game. Intended for Sproles. A.J. Hawk with the coverage. And we'll have an untimed down here.
A.J. Hawk goes right over the top of Darren Sproles here.
Pass interference. Defense, number 50. Ball replaced at the 1 yard line. We will extend the game by 1 play.
Extend by 1 play, barring another defensive foul. The ball at the 1 yard line. An untimed down by 8. The running back is Ingram. They give it to him. He can't get it. They'll unfile. They'll make it official.
Ryan Pickett just basically undercut the whole defensive front and makes this play right here. He's going to shoot underneath and takes the legs out from underneath the offensive lineman, trying to drive them back in. And then here comes the house. What a game.
And no doubt at the end, he gets to the half-yard line, and that's it. Back to football. I'll say. What a game. Mike Turnback, the defensive line coach. The Packers exult. They win on opening night. Frustrating loss for Breeze and the Saints.